Story 1. Have you ever heard a wall whisper your name? I'm Sarah, and that night, God, it was only last summer, I swear the walls knew everything about me before I even walked into that room. Mike and I had been driving for hours, somewhere on the edge of the city where the streetlights give up and the road turns into cracked asphalt and weeds. The car coughed, shuddered, and died right under a flickering neon sign that read, Starlight Motel, Vacancies. The sign buzzed like a dying insect. We were too tired to care. Mike said it was just one night, just a place to sleep until morning when we could call a tow truck. The clerk barely looked at us, just slid a key across the counter and muttered, Room 12, end of the hall. The room smelled like old rain trapped inside carpet. The wallpaper was yellowed and curling at the corners, peeling away like dead skin. One single bulb swung from the ceiling, throwing long shadows across the bed. We dropped our bags, kicked off our shoes, and fell onto the lumpy mattress without even changing clothes. I remember Mike's arm heavy across my waist, his breathing slowing into sleep almost instantly. I was almost gone too, until I heard it. A soft murmur like someone talking through a closed door. At first I thought it was the TV in the next room or maybe a couple arguing. But the voice was too close, coming from inside the wall right behind my head. I pressed my ear to the cold plaster. The words were faint, broken. He knows. I froze. Mike stirred beside me. Don't let her leave. My heart started pounding. I shook Mike awake. Listen, I whispered. He groaned, half asleep, and told me it was just the wind rattling the old pipes or thin walls. He rolled over and was out again in seconds. I lay there in the dark, wide awake, telling myself he was right. Old buildings make noises, that's all. But the whispers didn't stop. They grew a little clearer, a little louder, like someone turning up the volume one notch at a time. She's lying. He'll find out. I sat up, sweat prickling my skin even though the room was cold. The words felt personal, like they were meant for me. I tried to laugh it off, my guilty conscience playing tricks, because Mike still didn't know about the stupid mistake I'd made 6 months earlier. A drunk night, a coworker. One time I wished I could erase. I'd buried it deep. No one knew. Around 3 a.m, I couldn't take it anymore. I woke Mike again. Something's wrong, I said. We need to leave. He rubbed his eyes, annoyed, but when he heard the voices too, now loud enough that even he couldn't deny them, he grabbed our bags. We hurried to the door. It wouldn't open. The knob turned, the lock clicked, but the door stayed shut, like something heavy was pushing from the other side. Mike threw his shoulder against it. Nothing. He kicked it. Still nothing. Panic started climbing up my throat. That's when I noticed the wallpaper curling near the floor. I knelt and pulled at a loose strip. It came away easily, revealing dark stains underneath, brown and flaking. Old blood. And scratched into the plaster beneath were words, hundreds of them, tiny and frantic. The walls remember everything. Help us. She lied. He found out. My hands shook so badly I could barely hold the peeling paper. More whispers poured out now, angry, overlapping, filling the room. Sarah. They said my name. Mike went pale. He grabbed the lamp from the nightstand and swung it at the window. The glass cracked but held. Again, harder. The bulb shattered, the base bent, but the window stayed whole. Then the plaster behind him cracked open like dry earth. Thin black shadows seeped out, stretching into long fingers. They wrapped around Mike's ankles, his legs, pulling him backward. He screamed my name, clawing at the carpet, but the hands dragged him toward the wall. His body slid into the crack as if the building was swallowing him whole. The plaster closed over him with a wet, final sound. I don't remember grabbing the chair. I don't remember smashing the window until it finally gave. I just remember crawling through broken glass, falling onto the gravel outside, running barefoot to the road with blood on my feet and Mike's screams still echoing inside my skull. I got away. But every night since then, when the apartment is quiet, I hear it again. Soft at first, coming from behind the drywall in my own bedroom. He knows, don't let her leave. And sometimes, in the darkest hour, the voice sounds exactly like mine, begging for help that never comes. The walls remember everything. And they never forget. Story 2. Have you ever woken up and felt a small, cold hand slip into yours, when both your children are meant to be asleep across the room? My name is Lisa, and I still feel that hand sometimes, even though it's been months since we left that place. We were supposed to be on a fun family vacation, me, Tom, 8-year-old Emily, and little Ben, who had just turned 5. But we got lost in the city that night. The GPS kept sending us down narrower streets until the buildings pressed in like walls and the sky disappeared. Rain hammered the windshield. The kids were cranky and tired in the back seat. Then we saw it. A tired old motel with one buzzing light that said, "Vacancy." Tom pulled in. Anything was better than driving in circles. The clerk was a thin man with watery eyes. He handed us a key for the family suite on the top floor, room 312, and said almost like an afterthought, "We get power flickers sometimes, old wiring." His smile didn't reach his eyes. The room was big but sad. 2 double beds, a sagging couch, and a bathroom with a huge mirror that reflected everything in dull gray. The carpet smelled damp. We tucked the kids in, kissed their foreheads, and fell into the other bed, clothes still on. Sleep came fast. I woke up first around 2 in the morning. The room was dark except for a thin line of streetlight leaking through the curtains. Something felt wrong. I heard soft giggling, childish, playful. But it wasn't coming from Emily or Ben. Their beds looked empty in the shadows. My heart jumped. I sat up. Ben was sitting cross-legged on the floor talking to the closet door. "Timmy says you're funny," he whispered, smiling at nothing. "He wants to play hide and seek." I rubbed my eyes. "Ben, honey, it's bedtime. Who's Timmy?" "My new friend. He lives in there." He pointed at the closet. Tom woke up then, grumbling. We told Ben imaginary friends were fine, but it was time to sleep. He crawled back into bed, still smiling. I checked Emily. She was curled up, breathing steady. I told myself it was just an overtired kid. We all went back to sleep. Later, I woke again. This time to silence so thick it hurt my ears. I reached for Emily's bed. My hand touched cold sheets. She was gone. I shook Tom. "Emily's not here!" We tore the room apart, under beds, behind the couch, in the bathroom. Nothing. Ben sat up, rubbing his eyes. "Timmy took her to play," he said calmly. "They're hiding." Panic clawed my throat. Tom pounded on the door to the hallway. It wouldn't open. The knob turned, but the door stayed shut, like invisible hands held it closed. The lights began to flicker, slow at first, then faster, like a dying heartbeat. I ran to the bathroom mirror to splash water on my face and steady myself. That's when I saw the edge of it wasn't flush with the wall. A thin gap. I pushed. The whole mirror swung inward like a door, revealing a narrow crawl space no adult should fit through. Dust and cold air breathed out. On the rough walls were dozens of faded crayon drawings, stick-figure children holding hands, a big building on fire, little faces with round, screaming mouths. Tom shone his phone light inside. There, in the far corner, sat Emily. Knees to chest, rocking, eyes wide and empty. I crawled in and pulled her to me. She was freezing. "They want Ben next," she whispered, over and over. "Timmy says we have to stay and play forever." That's when the lights went out completely. In the pitch black, small hands touched my arms. Too many, too cold. I heard giggling all around us. Tom dragged us out of the crawl space and slammed the mirror shut. The flickering started again and shapes appeared in the strobing light. Children standing at the foot of the beds, skin blackened, clothes melted to their bodies, eyes pleading. One reached for Ben with charred fingers. Tom grabbed the desk chair and swung it at the window. Once. Twice. On the third try, the glass shattered outward. Rain and city noise rushed in. He cleared the jagged edges with the blanket. I passed Emily through first, then Ben. Tom went last, cutting his hands badly. We ran to the car and didn't stop until the motel was miles behind us. We never went back for our bags. Emily got better slowly. She doesn't talk about that night. But Ben is different. He sits for hours staring at closet doors. Sometimes he smiles and waves at empty corners, and late at night, when the house is quiet, I hear him whisper, "I'm ready, Timmy. I'll come play now." I check on him every hour. I never let the closet doors stay closed. Because I know they're still waiting for him to keep his promise. Story 3. Have you ever looked in a mirror and seen someone else staring back? Someone who knows your worst secret? My name is Elena, and I still can't look at any mirror without feeling her eyes on me. Carlos and I wanted one perfect weekend before the wedding. We found this old motel online, flashy neon sign, velvet curtains in the photos, all that vintage charm everybody loves now. The reviews called it romantic and a step back in time. We booked it without thinking twice. When we pulled up, the place looked tired but pretty in the city lights. The clerk gave us room 204 with a wink and said, "Best view in the house." The room was big, red wallpaper, gold trim, a huge bed with a heavy headboard. But the bathroom, that mirror, took up almost the whole wall. Tall, ornate frame, old glass that seemed to drink the light. It fogged up the moment we walked in, even though we hadn't run water yet. Little beads of mist crawled across it like tiny fingers. We laughed about it, kissed, forgot. That first night, we made love with the lights low, whispering promises. I fell asleep, happy. I woke up sometime past midnight needing the bathroom. The mirror was clear now, reflecting the dim glow from the bedside lamp. Carlos was asleep behind me. But in the glass, standing right next to him was a woman. Pale, thin, long dark hair hanging over her face. Her eyes were empty black holes. She stared straight at me. I gasped and spun around. No one there, just Carlos breathing softly. I looked back. The woman was gone. My heart hammered. I told myself it was a dream, a trick of tired eyes. In the morning, Carlos teased me when I told him, "You're seeing ghosts already? Save that for the honeymoon." We laughed, but I kept glancing at the mirror. Later, while Carlos showered, I brushed my teeth. Steam filled the room, but the mirror stayed mostly clear in one big circle, like someone had wiped it. Then a hand appeared inside the glass. Small, white, fingers spread wide, pressing from the other side. The woman's face came close behind it, mouth open in a silent scream. I stumbled backward, knocking bottles everywhere. Carlos came out dripping. I babbled about the hand. He hugged me, said old mirrors play tricks with condensation and light. He even called the front desk to switch rooms, because my fiancé is spooked. They gave us room 208 right across the hall. We opened the door and stopped. We opened. Same red wallpaper, same bed, and the same enormous mirror on the bathroom wall. That night we tried to ignore it. We ordered pizza, watched a movie on his laptop, tried to be close again. But every time I looked over his shoulder, the reflection showed something wrong. Me kissing another man, Carlos raising his fist, blood on both of us, things we'd never done. The images flickered like bad film. Then the cut started. A thin red line appeared on Carlos's cheek, just like in the mirror a second before. I felt stinging on my arm and looked down, 3 scratches blooming bright. We stared at each other, terrified. Signal was weak, but Carlos managed a quick search on his phone before it died completely. Old newspaper clippings, 1920s. The motel used to be a brothel. The owner caught his wife with a customer and killed her right in front of that antique mirror, stabbed her over and over while she begged. They say the glass trapped her soul, and every couple who stays relives the betrayal until they tear each other apart. We ran to the bathroom. Carlos grabbed the little chair and swung it at the mirror. It cracked but held. Again, harder. The glass shattered outward in a storm of shards. But the pieces didn't fall. They hung in the air, spinning, then flew straight into our skin. I felt them burrow like glass insects. Carlos screamed as slivers dug into his arms, his chest. The room went dark. When the light came back, we were inside the mirror, standing in 1,000 jagged reflections. Every shard showed us accusing each other, fighting, bleeding. The pale woman stood behind us, smiling now. Her cold hands rested on our shoulders. We're still here. Sometimes new couples check in. They laugh, kiss, turn off the light, and we watch from inside the glass, waiting for the next ones to see us. If you ever stay in an old motel with a big antique mirror that fogs for no reason, don't look too long. She's waiting to show you what you've hidden. And once she does, there's no breaking free. Story 4. Have you ever heard a thump under the floor that sounded exactly like a heartbeat, but not your own? My name is Sophia, and I still check the rearview mirror every time we drive at night. Our flight got canceled because of a big storm, so the 4 of us, Miguel, me, our teenage daughter Ana, and little Pablo, only 7, ended up in the city's industrial district looking for any place with a vacancy. The streets were empty, just warehouses and flickering streetlights. Then we saw the sign. Rest Easy Motel, rooms $49. It looked rough, but the kids were asleep in the back seat and we were out of options. Miguel paid cash. The clerk didn't even ask for ID. Room 108 was on the ground floor, right above the basement laundry. The air smelled of bleach and rust. 2 small beds, a pull-out couch, and vents in the floor that breathed cold air. We tucked Pablo in with Ana on one bed. Miguel and I took the other. Everyone was exhausted. Sleep came quick. I woke to a low thump, thump, thump coming up through the vent by my feet. Steady, like someone hitting a pipe far below. I thought it was a washing machine out of balance. Miguel mumbled it was nothing and went back to sleep, but the sound kept going, slow and patient. Pablo sat up in the dark. "Mommy, there's a man under the bed." My skin went cold. I turned on the lamp and looked. Nothing but dust and an old candy wrapper. I checked under both beds, in the closet, even the bathroom. Empty. Pablo curled against me, whispering, "He says he's lonely." Morning came gray and rainy. Ana was restless, texting some boy she'd met online who lived nearby. I told her no sneaking out. She rolled her eyes and promised. That evening, Miguel took Pablo to the vending machine while I showered. When I came out, Ana was gone. Just her phone on the pillow and the window cracked open. We searched the parking lot, the streets, the office. No one had seen her. Miguel's voice cracked when he said her name. Back in the room, the thumping was louder, faster. Pablo pointed at the floor. He took her downstairs to play family. There was a door at the end of the hall marked "Basement, Staff Only." It was unlocked. We grabbed a flashlight and went down. The stairs creaked under us. The air turned thick, chemical sweet. Rows of old washers and dryers stood silent. Beyond them, a hallway of storage rooms. We found the first room full of mannequins. Plastic people dressed in old clothes posed like they were eating dinner. A father mannequin at the table, a mother beside him, 2 children. Their blank faces stared straight ahead. The next room had more. A family watching TV, a family saying grace. All dust-covered, all perfect. The thumping was deafening now. We followed it to the last room. Ana was there, wrists tied with duct tape, wearing a faded pink dress 2 sizes too small. She was seated at a child's tea set with 2 mannequins dressed as little girls. Tears ran down her face, but she couldn't scream. tape over her mouth. A shape moved behind her. A man stepped into the light. His skin was melted in places, shiny and wrong, like wax left too close to fire. One eye drooped, the other stared sharp and bright. He wore overalls stiff with grime. In his gloved hand, he held a length of pipe. "She's my daughter now," he rasped. "We're almost complete," Miguel charged. He grabbed a loose pipe from the floor and swung. The man blocked it like it was nothing. They crashed into shelves, mannequins falling like dominoes. Miguel fought hard, but the man was stronger than any human should be, years of rage and chemicals twisting him into something else. I pulled the tape from Anna's mouth. She sobbed. "He's crazy, Mom. He says we're his new family." Fumes started pouring from a busted pipe overhead, greenish, burning my throat. Pablo coughed behind me, deep and wet. I grabbed him and Anna and ran for the stairs while Miguel kept fighting. I heard grunts, metal clanging, then Miguel's shout, "Go! I'm right behind!" We burst into the hallway upstairs. Miguel came stumbling after, blood on his shirt but alive. We piled into the car, doors locked, engine roaring. I didn't look back until we hit the highway. That's when I saw him in the rearview mirror, standing in the road under the streetlight, melted face-lit orange, watching us leave. Then he started walking, slow, steady, after the car. Pablo's cough started that night, deep, rhythmic, thump, 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 just like the basement. We took him to doctors. They found nothing wrong with his lungs, but the cough never stops. And sometimes, when he thinks no one is listening, Pablo whispers to the dark, "I'm coming home soon, Daddy." I still check the mirror. Every time the road is empty behind us, I breathe easier. But some nights, far in the distance, I see a shape walking under the streetlights. Always the same pace, always catching up. Story 5. Have you ever put on someone else's watch and felt it tick a little too fast, like it was counting down to something only it knew? My name is Jordan, and I still can't take this thing off. Alex and I got married on a sunny Saturday, both of us grinning like fools. We couldn't afford a big honeymoon yet, so we planned a fun drive up the coast with stops along the way. Our first night as husband and wife, we pulled into a busy city center motel. Nothing fancy, but clean enough, with a glowing sign and valet parking. We were giddy, holding hands, kissing in the lobby like teenagers. The clerk slid our key card across the counter. A faded red "Do Not Disturb" hanger was already looped through the hole. He didn't say anything about it. We laughed, probably left by the last guests, and went up to room 512. The room smelled faintly of perfume and cigarette smoke that wouldn't quite leave. On the nightstand sat a thin gold necklace with a heart pendant. On the dresser lay a heavy men's watch, silver face cracked, still ticking. Housekeeping slip-up, we figured. We tossed them into a drawer and forgot about them. That night we made love slowly, whispering, "I love you" over and over, happier than we'd ever been. At exactly midnight the phone rang. I picked it up, thinking it was the front desk. A woman's voice, low and scared. "You shouldn't have stayed." Click. Deadline. Alex joked it was a prank. We turned off the light and curled together. Then every door in the room, the bathroom, the closet, the hallway door, slammed shut at once. The lock clicked like a gunshot. The air turned freezing. Two shapes shimmered into view at the foot of the bed. A man and a woman, pale and flickering like old film. Their clothes were from another time. Him in a cheap suit, her in a red dress. Blood soaked both of them. She clutched her stomach. He held a knife that dripped onto the carpet. They started arguing, voices echoing inside my skull. "You brought this on us." "I trusted you." He raised the knife. She begged. He stabbed her again and again, exactly where the blood already was, like they were trapped, repeating the worst moment of their lives. Then the man's ghost turned to Alex. Alex's eyes went blank. His face changed, hardened, angry. He climbed out of bed and reached for me with hands that weren't his anymore. "Jordan," he said, but the voice was deeper, older. You'll pay for her lies. I scrambled away. He grabbed my arm, fingers bruising. I kicked, screamed his name, but he didn't hear me. The woman's ghost hovered near me, whispering, "He never really loved you. None of them do." I remembered the drawer. I yanked it open, grabbed the necklace and watch. They burned cold in my hands. I smashed the necklace against the table edge. The chain snapped, the heart pendant cracked, and the ghosts screamed. It only made them worse. They poured through the walls like smoke, circling us, whispering every doubt I'd ever had. He'll leave you. You're not enough. All men turn cruel. Alex found the little complimentary fruit knife on the desk. Eyes empty, he turned it on himself, pressing the tip to his chest like the ghost was guiding his hand. Blood bloomed dark on his t-shirt. I couldn't let it end like this. I grabbed the desk chair and jammed the leg under the door handle, prying with everything I had. Wood splintered. The lock gave. I dragged Alex into the hallway. He was breathing, shallow but alive, and slammed the door behind us. We made it to the hospital. Doctors stitched him up, said he was lucky. He doesn't remember any of it. We never went back for our bags, but the watch, the man's watch, was on my wrist when I woke up in the waiting room. I don't remember putting it on. The clasp is fused shut. I've tried cutting it, freezing it, everything. It won't come off. Alex and I lasted another year. The fight started small, then grew. Words turned sharp. One night he looked at me like he didn't know who I was. We separated last month. Every new person I date hears the same whisper eventually. He'll hurt you. They always pull away, scared of something they can't name. The watch ticks louder now, faster, like it's impatient. I know it's waiting for the next one. And when I glance at the face, the crack in the glass looks a little more like a smile. Story 6. Have you ever felt something crawl under your skin and realize it wasn't trying to get out but deeper in? My name is Mia, and I still check Lily's arms every night for new red lines. We never knew Great Uncle Victor until the lawyer called. He died alone, leaving everything to Grace, his only living blood relative. Everything meant a small, forgotten motel in the city's old quarter called the Rosewood Arms. Grace, my mother-in-law, was thrilled. A fresh start, she said. Derek, my husband, thought we could fix it up, maybe run it together. I just wanted to see it before deciding. We packed an overnight bag for Lily, our 2-year-old, and drove in one afternoon. The building looked frozen in time. Red brick, faded green awning, brass numbers on 12 quiet doors. Inside, the lobby smelled of dust and old roses. Every room was perfectly preserved. Heavy oak furniture, velvet curtains, beds made up like guests had just stepped out for tea. No cobwebs, no rot. Just silence. We chose room 6 because it had a crib. Lily went down easy, exhausted from the car ride. Grace took the room next door. Derek and I shared the big bed. We laughed about how creepy beautiful it was, like stepping into a black and white photo. Around midnight, Lily woke crying. She was scratching her arms hard enough to leave marks. Bugs, Mama. Bugs in the bed. We stripped the sheets, shone phone lights everywhere. Nothing. No fleas, no bed bugs, just soft, clean linen. We gave her a little antihistamine, told her it was probably allergies to old fabric, and rocked her back to sleep. I woke again an hour later with an itch on my ankle, then my neck, then everywhere. Derek was scratching too. Grace knocked on the door. She felt it as well. We turned on every light. The sensation was like tiny hairs brushing just under the skin. Derek pulled back the mattress cover. We all stared. Thin white tendrils, no thicker than threads, wiggled out of the seams. They pulsed gently, like roots searching for water. When the light hit them, they retreated deeper into the stuffing. Lily whimpered and scratched harder. We ran to the lobby. Grace found the office key still hanging on its hook. Inside were ledgers, photos, and leather journals. She opened the newest one, Victor's handwriting, shaky but clear. He wrote about experiments in the 1920s. A biologist friend sent him samples, something grown in a lab, part fungus, part nerve tissue, meant to heal wounds, connect living things. Victor thought he could make the perfect family. Lonely guests, lonely owner, all joined forever. He fed it blood, hair, skin flakes. It spread through the mattresses, the walls, the floors. It only needed inheritance, bloodline, to travel. Derek laughed nervously. Crazy old man. Then his face went slack, his eyes glazed. He turned to me slowly and said in a voice not quite his, "Time to join the family, darling." He lunged. I screamed and shoved him away. Grace grabbed an old brass lamp and swung, but Derek, no, the thing inside him, barely flinched. Tendrils were visible now under his skin, moving like worms. I scooped Lily and ran. The hallway carpet rippled under my feet, veins throbbing beneath the pattern. Doors creaked open by themselves, revealing more beds with sheets that moved on their own. Grace shouted from the office, "It binds blood! Burn it!" I found the fire axe in the lobby case. Grace met me with a can of old lamp oil from the basement. We poured it across the front desk, the rugs, the stairs. Lily cried in my arms, scratching until her little nails drew blood. Grace lit the match. Flames raced up the dry wood like they'd been waiting decades. She looked at me, eyes already cloudy. "Go, it's in me now. I'll keep it here." I didn't want to leave her, but Derek's footsteps thumped behind us, heavy and wrong. I kicked open the front door and ran into the cold night. We watched from across the street as the rosewood burned bright. Firefighters came, but the building went fast, like it wanted to die. Grace never came out. We thought we'd escaped. Lily's scratches healed into faint pink lines. We moved far away, started over, but last week the lines turned dark again. New tendrils, thin as threads, push up under her skin when she sleeps. She smiles in her dreams and whispers, "Grandma says it's time to come home." I feel the itch starting in my own arms now. It followed the bloodline, and it's almost ready for the next generation. For more stories like this, share and subscribe Goofy Horror.